Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Welcome back to my channel. Today in this video, we are going to try to knock off as many books that I've been avoiding and have had on my TBR cart for more than 2 months out of the way. So we're going to read as many books that I have on my cart that's been there for a really long time that I've been avoiding. We're going to read as many as we can in this video, and we're going to take them off the cart and put them on the shelf. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and the first book we're going to start off with is Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevins. So I made it to the 200 page mark. I got to page 202 on Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevins. So I was really enjoying it. I was really hooked for a while. I really wanted to keep reading. However, this is very disappointing. I got to page 200 and I am going to DNF this. I'm not the type of person where I'm going to force myself to continue a book if I don't feel like it. And there's just so many elements of this book that I just didn't like. I think it's very controversial. Like, I feel like some people like it, some people don't. I went on Goodreads to see reviews about this, and a lot of people had the exact same opinion. I got to the point where there's this scene in the book that I was just like, all right, that's the last straw. So I'm going to soft DNF this. I feel like I don't know. Let's say I do continue this like 2-3 years from now, who knows? Maybe I do pick up the book again, or maybe I just don't pick up the book again. But for now, I honestly do not see myself continuing the book or picking it up again, which is actually very disappointing because I was really excited for this book. I would look at the cover, I would look at the book, I would look at the reviews, and I would just want to read it so badly. And I was so hooked in the beginning, but then it just started, like, I feel like the author just started going completely somewhere else. So I think we're just gonna move on with this video. I think we're gonna pick up the next book that I've been avoiding, and I think the book we're gonna start with is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. That is book 3 in the Once a Broken Heart trilogy. It came out, I think, January? No. I think it came out, I don't know, I think April of 2023. No, that's completely wrong. I don't know exactly. Actually, let's look at when it came out.
One eternity later.
Okay, so this book came out October 2023. I'm like here saying April. So it did come out recently, but also not too recently. So we're just going to start that book, and we're going to continue with this vlog. We're going to see what other books that I've been avoiding, and we're just going to pick them up. We're going to see if they are worth being afraid of, or if I had no reason to be afraid of them at all. So we're going to keep going. So kind of a very disappointing start to the vlog, but it is okay. It's fine. I can't believe I made it halfway through just to DNF it, but it's okay. It's fine. We'll get back up. So I'm gonna see you guys in a little bit. I have updates. So as we cleared up before, I DNF'd Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. So I started out the second book in this video, And that's, well, I don't have the sleeve with me, but that's A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. And I'm freaking out. I am freaking out. So updates, I have been flying through this book. I haven't really updated you guys a lot because I've been devouring the book. I've been eating it up. I can't stop reading. I honestly, like, whenever I put the book down, I think about picking it back up. But I have, guys, I have like, I think only 80, less than 100, I have less than 100 pages left in this book. And I feel like I'm about to cry. I have been loving this series so much. I literally binged the first and second book. I read the first one and then I immediately went to go buy the second one. And then I read them back to back, and then I bought the third one quickly after I read the second one. But this is a book I've been avoiding, which is the whole point of this video. Reading books I've been avoiding. The reason I've been avoiding this book is that, one, I don't want the series to end. It's literally like watching a TV show. Like, you have so much fun with the characters, you get attached to the characters, you love the characters, you love everything about the show, and then you realize that it's gone on for so long that when it's about to end, you're like, I don't want to finish the show. That's literally how I'm feeling with this book. I've gone, guys, I feel like a lot of people say, I don't know, like people say like, oh, you don't have to read the Caraval trilogy first, because this is a spin-off of the Caraval trilogy that Stephanie Garber wrote. However, I definitely stand by the fact that I definitely recommend reading the Caraval trilogy first if you want to read this, because it adds a lot more to like the experience. It adds a lot more, oh my goodness, to it, mostly because our main guy character does appear in the Caraval trilogy. So when you read about his story in this series, you're like so much more attached to him. You know some of his backstory. It just gives like a different understanding, a higher level of understanding, a higher level of attachment, of appreciation, of love towards the character, the main male character in the story, that it's just like, oh my goodness, you know? But I definitely do think one of the things that have added so much love and so much hype for me in this experience of reading this trilogy was reading the Caraval trilogy first, which honestly, I love that trilogy. I'm on page 286. So the reason I haven't updated you guys is because I haven't even had time to update you guys at all. I've been reading this for the past 2 to 3 days and I can't stop thinking about it. I really can't stop thinking about it. So we are kind of like in the part where everything's going downhill. We're kind of getting to, I don't know. I'm just scared about how everything is gonna go down. I'm loving this one so much though. It has, I literally think this is gonna be a 5-star. I think a lot of people thought, what I've heard while reading this book, a lot of people think that, oh, we don't see enough of Jax, or we don't get enough of Jax's point of view, which I do agree. I think it would have been nice to have more Jax's point of view, but I think everything about this book is perfect besides that. I think the amount of times we see Jax and stuff like that is just perfect. Like, I think series so much. I love this book. I don't understand why I've been putting it off. I feel like I could have read this like 2 months ago, and I don't know why I've been putting it off when I clearly shouldn't have put it off. But I'm loving this. We have 80 pages left to go, so I think I'm just gonna binge the 80 pages I have left, and then I'll come back with you guys after that. But I'm so scared about what's gonna happen next. Like, I'm so scared about what is going to happen next. Like, I'm freaking out about that. But it's fine. It's fine. Oh my god. So, wish me luck. I'm gonna go finish this now. I'm gonna have like 80 pages left, so wish me luck. Wish me luck. But I'm gonna put my headphones on. I've been listening to the playlist on Spotify that they made, or that someone made, and it honestly adds so much more to reading the book. I'm not gonna lie. So, I am gonna go finish the book, and then I'll come back with you guys after. So. I am. Well, of course, that's obvious. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. Last time I spoke to you guys, I was in the middle of finishing like the last 80, 100 pages. Not 80, 100, like 80 to 100 pages. I was last speaking to you guys. So, I have finished it. I finished it. I have no words. No words. I'm gonna save my ratings for the end of the video, but if you guys haven't read or started the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, I don't know what you guys are doing. I really don't know what you guys are doing. It's such a good trilogy. I enjoyed every single second of it. So after finishing this book, I couldn't pick up another book for like a day and a half. I had to really process the ending of this series. But either way, this series is always gonna have a place in my heart. I'm gonna love this trilogy forever. Like, this is my new favorite fantasy trilogy. So moving on, we are gonna read our last and final book of this video. So I realized I had Renegades by Stephanie Marissa Meyer on my TBR cart, and I've had this I think for almost a year now. I think I've had this for over 6 months on my TBR. I've had it for a long time sitting in my cart, and it gives all the vibes I was looking for. So to break up the news, I've made it to page 252, and on Goodreads I think that's like 45%, so I'm almost halfway through. So to get kind of like a synopsis of the book, the vibes I'm getting is Marvel and X-Men. I'm getting a lot of Marvel and X-Men vibes. I don't know, me personally, since growing up watching Marvel and X-Men, I don't know, this book is really giving that vibes. But it is the vibes I was looking for, in a sense of corrupt government, sci-fi and stuff like that. It is the vibes I was looking for. So this has to be one of the vaguest, like on the back, the summary has to be one of the vaguest summaries I've ever read in a series. So I'm kind of confused about who I'm going for, because there are so the whole synopsis about the book is that there's a team called Renegades, and it's kind of like Marvel or like the Avengers type of thing. It's like there's a team called Renegades, which are a group of people that have superpowers that are called prodigies. So it's a bunch of prodigies on one team. Like, say, like, you know, like there's Captain America, or there's Black Widow, or there's Spider-Man. Like, think about it like that, and instead of being called Avengers, they're called the Renegades. And they kind of run the government in a sense where there's a higher form of Avengers, and they're called the Council on the Renegades, and they kind of run the government. They're kind of trying to rebuild society from something that happened a long time ago. So they're just trying to rebuild society right now, and they want freedom, they want reestablishment, they want justice, they want laws, they want governments. They basically want a firm foundation for society. Then we kind of go into villain gangs. Like, there's the Anarchist, which is where our main character is from. Our main character is part of a group called the Anarchists, and they're kind of claimed as the villains. However, I don't know, like, it's hard. Like, they're labeled as villains, but the way I see it, rebuild society, like, they both want the same things, in a sense where I'm like, okay, so who's really the bad guy here, you know? So the Renegades are a syndicate of prodigies, humans with extraordinary abilities who emerge from the ruins of a crumbled society and establish peace and order where chaos reigned. As champions of justice, they remain a symbol of hope and courage to everyone except the villains they once overthrew. Nova has a reason to hate the Renegades. She is on a mission for vengeance. As she gets closer to her target, she meets Adrian, a renegade boy who believes in justice and in Nova. But Nova's allegiance to a villain has the power to end them both. I can't believe I read halfway within just 2 days. So I'm gonna stop yapping now. So I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna go read. So I'm gonna see you guys in a little bit. Bye bye. Hi guys. So last thing I remember talking to you guys about was Renegades. That I was in the middle of finishing Renegades. So update, I finished Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I'm gonna give all of my reviews right now. I'm gonna give all my ratings and all my opinions. I'm gonna save this one for last because it is the last book that we read. But overall, good book. I enjoyed it. But we're gonna start off with the first book that we read in this video, and that's Tomorrow by Gabriel Zevins. This was a DNF. I couldn't finish it. I got 200 pages in. I just couldn't root for the characters. I couldn't find myself in any situation rooting for the characters or supporting the characters or connected with the characters. And I feel like that's really important for me in a book if I'm reading. I feel like even if the character's doing something dumb, even if the character's like doing something you don't agree with, you still root for the characters, you still support the characters, you're still wanting to read the character development. But I couldn't feel that at all in a book, and I feel in this book, and I feel like that is very important for me when I'm reading. I have to feel connected with the characters, or at least root for the characters, or like the characters. But I did not like any of our main characters at all. I felt Sadie was completely toxic. I felt Sam had his toxic moments. I felt there was no progress in Sadie and Sam's relationship, because they do like become a couple, but there was no progress in that. I couldn't really see them being a couple or anything. And even their partnership in the video game industry, as them working together as a team for the video game, I just felt like they would argue more than actually work together. I couldn't connect or even root for the characters at all. But DNF, I can't say in the future that I won't pick it up again, but can I see myself picking it up somewhere in the near future? Not really. Not at all. Which is very disappointing, but it is what it is. I'm just really relieved to see it off my shelf and off my cart and on my shelf. I'm just relieved to finally see it on this side of the room, on this shelf. Even if it's as a DNF, I'm just happy to see it off the cart. But it's a relief. But then we moved on to A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I'm going to give this, I was able to sit on this rating for a while. I think I gave this, like, I processed the ending for a total of like 3 days before picking up another book. I'm going to give this a 4.5. It's not really a 5-star read. I think my favorite out of the whole series is the second one, The Ballad of Never After. This one was so good though. It definitely exceeded all expectations. Because I remember reading, like when this book came out in October, there was a bunch of reviews, a bunch of YouTubers saying they had their complaints and their comments, which is totally understandable. But that had me worried about that had me worried about my enjoyment reading the book. But I had nothing to be worried about. I loved this book. If you guys haven't read A Broken Heart, like Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy yet, I don't know what you guys are doing. This was an amazing book. I loved our characters. I loved our main character, Evangeline. I feel like she's such like a classic Delulu hopeless romantic. I feel like even as a delusional hopeless romantic like myself, she was just like completely delusional. It's like you read and it makes you laugh. But her character development throughout the series, I really enjoyed. I did feel like in this book, which is ironic, but if you guys read the second book, you know what I mean. But I did feel like she had the most common sense in the last book throughout the whole series. But I loved her character development. I loved her as a character. I loved our main guy character, Jax. I think he's one of my favorite male characters that I've read, like at least top 10, top 5. I really enjoyed his backstory and his history and his own character development. One thing that I love about Stephanie Garber though is her setting. the way she writes her book, her writing style, and her setting in her books, it's just so much world buildup that I was able to visualize myself in this story. Like, usually I feel like reading for me is something that I can picture. Like, when I'm reading, I can visualize everything, like if I'm watching a movie. And I felt that for this book. Like, I just felt that I was immersed in the story, I was immersed in the setting, and the setting was just so enchanting. There was just something so enchanting about this setting, about this whole series. I loved everything about it. 4.5, it was close to being a 5-star read, but there was just something about it that gave 4.5 and not 100% 5 stars. But I really enjoyed it. I loved the book overall. It was just such a good book. If you guys haven't read this, I don't know what you guys are doing. Definitely pick up the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, or at least put it on your TBR. But I definitely still do recommend reading the Caraval trilogy first. But if you read it first or not, this trilogy by itself is just amazing. And I couldn't stop tabbing. I felt like this has to be one of my most tabbed books. Like, I couldn't stop annotating it at all. Then the last book that we read in this video, I keep almost saying trilogy. The last book we read in this video was Renegades by Marissa Myers. Like I said, this is a YA sci-fi. It's not really a fantasy, but it is sci-fi. I really enjoyed the plot of this book. I enjoyed a lot about it. I would say this is a 4-star. This is a 4-star book. I really enjoyed it, but it's not really a 5-star read. I didn't find myself bored in any moment. I found myself really entertained. I felt like this story was really entertaining. I felt like it was a good time. It was really enjoyable. Especially for a book, like the first book in a series, I felt like it was really good. You really get all of everything that a first book in a series needs flushed out. Like, I felt like everything was explained, everything was put where it needs to be, everything was described perfectly, and the ending was really good. Definitely, I did not see the ending coming at all. I had my theories about the ending. I had hints and guesses, but they're wrong. Like, the ending was like, oh wow, I didn't expect that at all. The plot twist was great. The whole setting of it was really enjoyable. I felt like I was reading a Marvel or X-Men envisioned book. And that's saying a lot because I grew up watching Marvel even as a little kid. My dad and my brother would put Marvel on all the time, and I grew up loving Marvel. I grew up loving the fandom. Like, I love it. So this was honestly really good. I did dive into the book expecting I did dive into the book expecting a cute, I don't know, romance. That's the word. I was trying to find the word. I did dive into this expecting a romance, which there is. There is a romance in this book, but I did dive into it thinking it's going to be a plot or a very important thing in the book, and it's not. Like, the romance in this book is a huge subplot. I recommend that if you guys are going to read this book, do not go into the book thinking that you're going to get a sci-fi romance, because that is not it at all. I felt like the romance was the least important thing in this story. I felt like the romance was a huge subplot. I don't even think we get to the romance until like 60% in through the book. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was the perfect book I needed in the moment. I enjoyed the whole government and superhero aspect of it. I definitely did understand the renegades and the anarchists, like the differences that they had, because starting this book, I was like, the renegades and the anarchists both want the same thing. So I'm confused about who I'm rooting for here. But then going into it, I definitely understood our main character's Nova's conflicts with the renegades. Like, I understood her hatred or her dislike towards the renegades. And I definitely understood the renegades as good people. However, I do think that the head of the renegades, I feel like in the beginning of the book, you're seeing the renegades wanting to create a new society, create a new foundation, create laws and a government and a stable society. But I felt like they have zero experience on how to do that. So they're not really improving society, but they're just, it's the same as it was like when they took over. But overall, I felt like the Renegades were good. I felt like everything was good. I understood our main girl character, Nova, and I just loved everything about it. Like, I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to keep going with the series. I'm excited to read book 2 and 3. I went to Barnes, like, I think 2 weeks ago, looking for the second book, and I literally go into Barnes. My dad was like, do you want to go to Barnes? And I was like, is that even a question? And I literally walked in with a goal. Like, I walked in, like, tunnel visioned, going to the YA section, looking for Arch Enemies, which is the second book. I was so disappointed, though. I was so disappointed because I walk in and it's not there. It's not on the shelf. I'm like, okay, customer service. I go to customer service and they're like, we don't have it. I was like, okay. So then I picked up a new Lauren Asher book, which is an F1 romance, because I've been really getting into F1 recently. And I was just like, you know what? I'll just take this. I'll just take this instead. But I literally walked into Barnes looking for the second book because it was honestly so good that I do want to keep reading it. So that's a thumbs up. So we didn't find any 5-star in this video, which is a little disappointing. I was expecting a 5-star within at least one of these 3 books. But overall, I think the goal of this video was accomplished. I felt like the goal and the reason of this video was completely accomplished. I got a total of 3 books off my cart. I think I have like about 15 books on my cart that I haven't read yet. And that is so overwhelming. So I was able to get 3 books off the cart and on the shelf, which is so relieving. And I'm happy to say that I enjoyed at least 2 out of the 3 books. I would definitely say 2 out of the 3 were books that I had no reason to be worried about. I had no reason to keep procrastinating on them. And I really enjoyed them. I felt, even all 3 books, I felt like they hit the spot, they hit the mood. Even if tomorrow was a disappointment, I felt the other 2 books were exactly the books I needed during this 2 weeks. Because I think that's how long it took me to read all this. But other than that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been a while, but be excited because I have a lot more coming up. I have a lot more ideas for the near future. So if you guys did enjoy this video, like and subscribe down below. Click the bell button down below to be notified when I upload more videos. And comment down below if you read any of these books or are thinking about reading these books or have any questions at all. And I really hope you guys enjoyed. So I'll see you guys in the next one.